We're good? Okay, Bruce, welcome.
Excuse me for being late.
We'll call the meeting to order. This meeting is being held in accordance with the South Carolina Freedom of Information Act. The news media has been notified and just joined us. And a copy of the agenda has been made available to the public. Due to the event of inclement weather resulting in a school closure, this meeting is held with remote participation. Several board members are connected online while others are in person at the network office located at 108 North Main Street. Dr. Ivy will confirm the record of attendance.
Happy to, Mr. Board Chairman. Although we were expecting a few to join virtually, it appears we have 100% in-person attendance. We'll just call the roll. Mr. Thompson, Greg Thompson, Chairman present. Ms. Chandler, Vice Chairwoman present. Ms. Lachey Davis, Secretary present. Dr. Rodney Thompson, Treasurer present. Board members Heather Bass present. Shafara Douglas present. Jenny Knopf present. Reverend Dr. Mary Newton present. Kimberly Rauschenbach present. We also have several staff members for the record that are present. Ms. Sally Harris, Director of the Elementary and Junior Academy. Mr. Leandro Montgomery from the Primary Academy. Mr. Gifford Shaw, Director of Finance, as well as a representative from the media and additional members of the public. Mr. Thompson, you have a quorum of the board that is present.
Okay, now we'll call it order. Reverend Newton, will you please give us an indication?
Yes, sir. Our Father and our God, we do thank you for another chance to gather around this table and to work for the upbuilding of your kingdom on earth as it is in heaven. We invoke your Holy Spirit upon us as we go into this meeting. God, we thank you for the peace and harmony that we've had since the first meeting. We pray that we continue to have that peace and harmony and work for our teachers, our parents, and our scholars. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. All right, will you please join in the pledge of allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I will read the mission statement. Liberty School Charter works to provide all students with equal access to a world-class K-12 education in an academically rigorous and student-centered learning environment, creating graduates who will be thoughtful and engaged citizens prepared to take on the leadership challenges of the 21st century. All right, while I'm hot, I'll just keep going. In partnership with our families and the vision statement, in partnership with our families and the community, our vision is to provide real-world, interdisciplinary, personalized, and project-based learning experiences through a STEAM-based academic program where graduates become the next generations of leaders, employers, and employees who contribute to the economic well-being of their communities and families. All right, if there are no objections to approval of the consent agenda and the minutes from the previous meeting, this meeting's agenda stands approved. All right, board recognition is rescheduled to the March meeting. We will now open the floor to public participation. Dr. Ivy, do we have anyone wish to speak this evening?
Yes, Mr. Chairman and members of the board, we do have one member of the public that has registered to participate during this section of the agenda, Mr. Mark Adams, who is a parent. Mr. Chairman, I'm just going to reiterate the public participation policy for the full interest of the board. The board does appreciate any interest in the learning community at Liberty STEAM Charter. Members of the public participation section are allotted 3 members for comments. Since we are usually hearing comments for the first time, it is our practice to accept comments as information. If additional information is needed, we will contact members who speak at a later date. You will receive a written response from the board chairman within 7 business days of addressing the full board. Guidelines for addressing the board include the following: confining your remarks to the business of the board. Number 2, refraining from commenting on any scholar or employee discipline or grievance matter. Number 3, presenting your comments without using offensive language or making comments in a disrespectful manner. Number 4, refraining from criticizing or complimenting specific individuals by name. Number 5, complying with the 3-minute time limit. Number 6, a fully completed participation card has been submitted to the board's designee, Ms. Amy Hanson, Administrative Manager to the Board of Directors. Mr. Thompson, Mr. Adams is present. That is the only member that is signed up for public participation.
Okay, Mr. Adams, we'd love to hear from you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Dr. Riley. I appreciate everybody inviting me here, especially these close quarters right here. I'll keep it short and simple. This is regarding an executive committee decision that's going to take place later on. So I know I've had a chance to talk to Ms. Davis about this and meet in person about the specifically the early age waiver for Bailey Adams, which is my daughter. So she turns 5 on September 21st, which is outside of the cutoff. South Carolina legislation does allow the board to make the decision for her early acceptance into that world-class education that you were just referring to right there, and that's ultimately the goal right there. So again, a lot of details provided in the supporting documents that I've given a copy, I think, to at least 7 folks, or she has the copies there with some amplifying information, the response from the South Carolina Charter School District or board that says basically y'all have the capability to be able to make that decision. So ultimately, in that you'll find the recommendations. She's currently enrolled in 4K. Right now, the recommendations from her teacher and the testing, etc. So, pending any questions, I just wanted to say that I am here and that I support this decision either way.
Okay, you ready to press on? Before we proceed with the Executive Director's report, I want to thank our guests for attending this evening's meeting. And while you're most welcome to stay for the remainder of the meeting, you may be excused at this time. Dr. Ivey, please proceed with your report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For the pleasure of the board, it is the middle of the school year, so just like our scholars received their semester report card, our parents have also received their semester report card, and now it is time for us to turn our attention to see how the organization is doing. So before I proceed with the regular cadence of the Executive Director's report, we do have both Academy Directors here to present what is titled on your agenda as the State of the School Address. Each Academy Director is going to have roughly 10 minutes to provide just some updates in terms of all of their current data and progress that they have made thus far, working as one team, one family to meet their organizational goals. But please pay particular attention to some language that they are going to be using around their big rocks and what are they going to be doing to turn over those big rocks in the next 6 months. So while this is a short 10-minute presentation, they have been working on this for a full month. It started before Christmas break. Both Academy Directors have met with their executive coaches to process out all of the data, including a required satisfaction survey that Charter School Growth Fund has provided to us as part of our milestones, which I'll go into a little bit more detail. As of today, both Academy Directors have also presented what you are about to hear to each of their grade level teams after conducting a focus group so that they have full eyesight on what should be these 3 big rocks that are informing our rally cry. And so we are going to start with Mr. Montgomery from the Primary Academy.
All right, good evening, everyone. Is this fine staying right here? Again, good evening, everyone. I just wanted to come up to talk to you all about our State of the School Address for the Primary Academy. All right, why did we give the survey out this year? Well, we gave the survey out this year to let our teachers know that, for one, their feedback is very important to us. And as we're at the mid-level of the school year, at the midway, we just want to see how much we can boost them around more and see how we can take the satisfaction to another level. So some of the quick data points that we're going to look at is participation, overall satisfaction, as well as math, iReady data review. All right, so understanding our results. So I'm going to talk about some of the strengths and also opportunities for growth that we do have based upon our data. All right, so our strengths that we have this year is, for one, leadership. A lot of the staff is very appreciative of the leadership that we have this year, how supportive they are how this, the leadership team, we have an open door policy. They can come and talk to us about anything, as well as our co-teacher model, as well as our transformational coaching that we have. We have two great, wonderful transformational coaches with Ms. Smilin as well as Ms. Smith, who's able to push in those rooms and to give those teachers that support that they need to improve our academic achievement. And also the last thing is the overall morale that we have at our school. I know once you all come in, you can feel how welcoming the school is, how ready our kids come for the learning environment, and that's another morale booster that we have this year as a strength. All right, so just talking about, again, our strength this year and about how well everybody likes how the administrative team is very supportive, visible, and that we are always constantly coaching our teachers. Our school level opportunities, so these are two big rocks. First of all is balance work and school. We have quite a number of our teachers that are going back to school that are either doing a master's program, Teachers for Tomorrow, trying to get that certification. So they have to learn how to balance between school and also work, as well as growth and advancement. A lot of our teachers would like to advance within the organization, and as we grow within our organization, we know that more opportunities that they will have to get those bigger roles and those at-bats where they can go and develop and grow as an educator. So these are some of the things that we came up with. We do, as Dr. Ivy did say, we have a focus group when we met with them on last week. These are some things that they came out of the focus group. Some things that we talked about that is having more Friday work time for staff that are not in letters, so they can get that Teachers for Tomorrow work done, as well as their master's work. And these are some action steps. So we, one thing that I would like to say is Dr. Ivy and Dr. McDonough have already talked about how we can have more personalized PDs. So that is one thing that we've already started, where we do have more work time on Fridays for that, as well as implementing that structured leadership development plan that we can have targeted training as well as mentorships to get those teachers to grow into the leaders that they would like to be. All right, these are some of our biggest wins. I want to take a look at this. Please, I'm very excited to show you all our math data that we have for reading and math. Overall, we have 62% proficiency in reading and 74% proficiency in math overall within the kindergarten and also first grade. And if you take a look on the left-hand side, you see our CSI. We know that CSI is those bottom 20% of our kids who are struggling, and as you can see that number decreased from fall to winter to show that they are going now into that tier 1 population where we want them to be.
And so these test results were from when?
Winter. December, yes, I'm sorry.
A month.
Yes, sir. And as you can look, these are our rated results from fall to winter. And you know that we only have first grade with iReady. And as you all can see, our tier 1 proficiency has increased from 26% to 42%, and our tier 2 has decreased from 72% to 56%. So these are some highlights that we would like for you all to see.
So you may be up there, but how does this compare, that 6 and 10 and 7 and 10, or 60-something, 70-something% compared to last year, that in the winter?
Well, we have to go back to math, because remember, we didn't have iReady for last year.
Okay.
But I would like to say that last year, if you go back up on our MAP scores, we were in about 50-something%. We was like 54. So as you all can see, we're at 62 and 74. So that is a significant
almost 10 percentage points.
Correct.
Excellent.
Correct.
How about science? You doing anything about our science scores?
Science, what we have started doing, we've had a targeted lesson with Dr. Kellogg, who's from South Carolina State. It's extensive, as well as we've had targeted PDs with our esteemed Miss Pringle. Yeah, I'm sorry, but Miss Pringle.
This is a different cohort of children we've measured, not the same ones as our first graders from last year.
And second, yes.
Yeah, but also what that means, in my opinion, is our first graders are performing better than they were as kindergartners also.
Yes, sir. All right, so
Sally, he's preparing them better for you.
all right, so if you, as you can take a look, these are our PTGs for this year for the organization at Primary Academy. And as you can see, we are hitting every goal. I would say the only one that we had to take a tweak on was our mini word challenge. As you can see, it's a little down, but we've already ramped that up as well. But everything else on this one, we are on track to meet all of our goals.
And Mr. Montgomery, I've come to appreciate meeting the growth targets, that 70% percentage. I
Yes.
mean, that is a significant number.
Thank you. And as you can see on operational level as well, we are hitting our goals. Our kids are coming to work. Our kids are coming to school. Our staff members are coming to work. So overall, they're eating breakfast and lunch. So we're hitting our goals that we have.
One quick, has the flu impacted your attendance this month?
In the beginning of winter, yes, sir. I definitely would say it was, and also a little bug that was going around. But right now, I think we've overcome that. And another one, just another saying how we're hitting our goals: parent satisfaction, parent participation. I mean, overall, parents are happy and thrilled of the learning environment that we created at the Primary Academy.
How do you go about finding whether or not parents are satisfied? Do you have any kind of
Wonderful question. Yes, sir. We had a Spark survey that was sent out to our parents as well as staff members, and also the POSSIP surveys that they do every other month. So we get direct feedback from our parents. Yes, sir. All right, so our three big wins, MAP, iReady, growth results. I can guarantee that that is a big win that we would like to showcase, as well as parent satisfaction. That is another big one. And our last big win, that the overall staff feels supported and they like the learning environment in which we created at the Primary Academy. These are some parts that is needed, possible more Friday work time for those people who are going towards certification or teach for tomorrow, and also just giving them more constant feedback, clear expectations, especially the ones that would like to grow, so we can get them more prepared for whatever the advancement they would like to be. Any questions?
No, I will tell you, the last couple visits to the school, I think it is organized better, more consistently, and it's actually cleaner. Not perfect, but you know what? It's moving in the right direction.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? Thank you
And
so
I'll
much.
tell you this too. See, we've been at this a year or two, right? It's amazing to me that how well behaved. I went and read to the kindergartners. Miss
Rojas and Ms.
Rojas,
Davis,
yes.
yep.
I was amazed at how well behaved all the children were in that class.
That speaks well on our board.
Absolutely, I'm telling you, it's different than a few years ago. And, you know, we had to grow as an organization and show some tough love around discipline and holding parents accountable, and I'll tell you this, it's working. And I think that's why your test score is certainly one of the reasons why your test scores are improving.
Yes, sir.
Well, Mr. Chairman and members of the board, as we transition to allow Mr. Montgomery to sit and allow Ms. Harris to come up.
You used your full 10 minutes, that's good.
Yes. You want to just turn in your packet to page number 18. We are going to be talking later in the Executive Director's report on milestones from one of our biggest investors, which is Church School Growth Fund. And as we often say, what we expect should be inspected. And as part of our milestones of Church School Growth Fund, One survey that each committee did not process out, which is why we are here to have the state of the school, is that Spark survey. And so on page 18, you have the network numbers. What I do need you to know is that, hey, we're only 1 point away from our 90% org-wide satisfaction. And oh, by the way, we only had 7 out of 127 staff members that did not complete the survey. And so this is a survey that is administered through Charter School Growth Fund that takes the place of Great Place to Work. And so as Ms. Harris re-tees up her presentation, I encourage you to reflect on these numbers that you see as she takes you on a journey into her school. And again, just a reminder that they've spent 4 weeks putting this presentation together. And so Sally, I think, just finished up her rollout to each grade level team today. Because at the end of the day, when you do a survey and you ask folks for feedback, they need to know that they've been heard. And so Spark was very insistent on how we do this. We've never taken this approach before when we did Great Place to Work. Ms. Broadway always would come in, our HR business partner, to do just a wrap-up focus group. But every staff member had calendar time to sit down and to hear the feedback that was gathered from the survey and the numbers. Everybody saw what you're looking at right here. And then, of course, in your committee package, you got each campus's breakdown of their numbers. So those are our org numbers. We are not far off from our 90% goal. And again, we're going to take this same satisfaction survey at the end of this year. So without any further ado, Ms. Harris will give her state of the school.
Okay, yes. So I at first was like, oh my goodness, all these steps we have to go through this survey. But I will be honest, I really enjoyed every aspect of it. Like I poured into, I mean, EA had pages of comments, and I got my highlighters, and I had a color for constructive feedback, and I had a color for praise, and I just, right before Christmas break, really went into the data, and then to be able to sit one-on-one through 2x2s to ask follow-up questions from the data, and then to sit with a focus group with one person from every team on campus, and then to sit with each grade level team and present this exact slide deck. So some of the slides are still in there for teachers, since I submitted this on Thursday for Ms. Hanson. So I have my updated notes because I talked with 2nd and 3rd grade today and tweaked a few more things, but you already had it in your packet. So we can scroll on down. Mr. Montgomery already shared why we gave this right here. Okay, so these are our data points. You have network-wide, but these are for EA. So we got 84% satisfaction. And then something I did want to point out, the Net Promoter Score almost made me have a heart attack. But what we found out has also been enlightening for our teams, because this is the questions on how likely are you to recommend working at Liberty to a friend or colleague on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the highest. And you are a promoter if you choose a 9 or 10 only. And you are neutral if you choose a 7 or an 8. Which to me is kind of realistic, like I'm an 8 on most days, and 1 through 6 is a detractor. So they take the promoters, the 9s and 10s, and they subtract out the 1 through 6s, and that's your Net Promoter Score. So now that all of our teams know that, I think we won't have as many in the neutral. We had a big bucket of the 7/8s that didn't count. So that's the Net Promoter Score. And then obviously our staff feels a lot of purpose in their work, and they have their basic needs being met. Something interesting about, was it growth and advancement, or there was somewhere where, it might have been under leadership efficacy, how likely are you to return next year was a lot higher than, do you see yourself here in 5 years? And so that came out in one of my big rocks of long-term sustainability, which you can go on down. You can keep going, sorry. Strengths, okay, so strengths, pulled out these 3. The team and admin support, a lot of quotes about that and just how they're able to lean on their team. They're able to, when they need something from admin, call and we come. But that was prevalent. And then number 2, just the environment that they work in every day. They feel like everybody's going towards the same goals and mission, and that they feel an overall positive sense of culture at work. And then number 3 was not just for family partnerships, but also for the industry partnerships, like our PATH
partners, dads on duty, all of the ways that we have for community members that aren't just families to get involved. And that was what I asked the teachers, so you can scroll past that one. Okay, and then our opportunities, so I already spoke a little bit to number one, workload and sustainability. And I will say for all three of these, it has been a big adjustment for our teachers to go to being the only adult in the classroom. Several of these are related to that. For instance, scholar behavior. There are things that teachers used to be able to let the second adult take the child in the hallway, have a quick talk, call mom or dad, take them on a quick walk. Things that they could use to de-escalate, that they are having to relearn some de-escalation and behavior management strategies in the classroom, and not everything needs to be sent to administration. That has definitely been something first semester that's been an adjustment. But we have acknowledged this, and we are working more closely with the teachers to make sure that they feel that support even, and that they're not alone with 25 kids, that they have other avenues without having a second adult in the classroom. But yeah, the workload and sustainability, what they were saying with that piece is that last year, throw something, I'll get my, like the teaching fellow can help send that communication to the path partner, the teaching fellow can help arrange family of the month, like the teaching fellow can help. And now they say like one little thing, like, hey, reach out to this person or send this reminder. It's like, it feels a lot heavier with them being responsible for every aspect of the Liberty Way. And then leadership presence, just being, they want us at lunch and they want us at, and so what I told them was, yes, it will be much more realistic when we have one big cafeteria and we have one lunch for elementary and one lunch for JA. Right now there are several lunches a day in 2 different cafeterias, and it's just not realistic for us to be in there all day. But we want to be in their rooms more often. And so one thing I said was, hey, well, that's on the action step. I'm jumping to the action step.
Hold on a minute down
Yes.
there. I always say hope's not a strategy. So your main plan should be that we continue to build stronger, more unified behavior systems, because.
This is quotes from the survey, so these are teacher quotes.
Right.
Yeah.
But you lead them,
Yes.
okay?
Mm-hmm.
And so I would just encourage you to continue to build that culture around discipline and the teachers holding the students and the parents accountable, because we won't maintain the growth in the children if behavior creeps back in,
Right.
right?
Mm-hmm. Go to the next one. And the next one. Okay, so actions we're taking in response to those 3 big rocks. The first one, we have to do a better job of protecting their planning periods. So yes, they have 2 planning periods a day, but we do a lot of team planning meetings, and then there are a lot of IEP 504 meetings that are during those planning periods. And then pacing guides. So there's been kind of a back and forth of whether they want the instructional coach to create the pacing guides and give them to them, or they want teachers to create the pacing guides so that they are fully bought in. They, for the most part, every grade level is not a fan of Eureka. They love HMH, but the math is what really gives them pains, because they say it's not SE standard aligned. And so they are doing a lot of the work of creating pacing for math on their own to make sure that all the South Carolina standards are hit. And so they feel like their voice was heard a whole lot through the process of choosing HMH, but they're like, why are we still in Eureka if we, have done it for a number of years and not seeing what we want to see with it? And so we have come up with the idea of, at the end of the year after testing is over, give the teachers who want input on the pacing guides some coverage and pull them out with Ms. Hatfield and get those pacing guides knocked out so that they feel more confident coming back, that they have what they need to be successful. And that's also going to be a big part of CFAs, because we can't create CFAs and give to the teachers and they say, oh, we're not on this part. The pacing guides and the CFAs and everything has to be aligned and built together at the same time. For leaders, we said we will share all of our weekly schedules, because we do have a lot of demands on us too, and make sure that they have opportunities to sign up for us to come and do read alouds. Just 2 weeks ago, I was in a 5th grade classroom reading a chapter from Number the Stars, and I loved it. It energizes me, the kids loved it, the teacher loved it, so making sure to schedule more time for that before my calendar gets completely taken up. And then for the last action step was just the communication overload of all the different Slack channels and important information getting lost. And so I said, done. I can easily send any action-oriented or important information through email.
How are you with the results?
So for overall with proficiency, we're 6 out of 10 for both math and reading. And then a big win was the CSI scholars, much like Mr. Montgomery said, that bottom 40th percentile of children. The goal is for 50% of them to meet their growth target, and 62% met in reading and 64% in math. Yes.
What's the expectation again?
50% of them to meet their growth targets. And then for the overall, for the whole school to meet their growth targets is 70. So we were at 60, 57, and 64.
Did we do winter math last year?
We did.
How did it correlate with SC Ready?
It was
pretty
about
good?
the same, but it was 5 out of 10 in reading and 6 out of 10 in math.
So you think that's a pretty good indicator of SC Ready?
I do.
So you think we
And
would be
science
more?
was a lot better this year than last year. We just got that linking study today, and that was really exciting.
So you think you've moved the needle,
I do.
well, these test scores tell us that you
Mhm.
did. Your team,
Yes.
you and your team. Okay,
Ready for
thank
the
you.
next one?
Anything else?
There's more. Okay, so these are very similar to what Mr. Montgomery said. You've already seen growth targets, million word. We are lower than we need to be, but we are starting the accelerated reader program, which we think is great for this age group of kids. More competitive. You gotta, read the book to take the test to get the points and the prizes. So I loved accelerated reader as a child, so I think that'll help a lot for this age group. You can keep going. I'll just kind of go through these quickly. Our operational excellence goals are all where they need to be in terms of ADA, participation. You can keep going. Thank you. Our POSIT parent participation is going down a little bit, but we did for the mid-year survey have 97% participation. A lot of this, when I talked about these slides with teachers, was how can we balance out, parent satisfaction is always right here and teacher satisfaction is slipping a little bit, so how can we empower our staff as much as we empower our families, because our families are super happy. And I did love to see that 99% agree that we're bully-free zone and clean environment, because that goes on the state survey.
Absolutely.
And then our biggest wins, first semester we had a lot of exposure opportunities for kids, and as a parent and a staff member, that makes me very proud. Most recently, we just got the Apple Swift Club, which is Teach for America. You all know I was a part of, reached out to me as an alum who's a school leader, and offered 20 brand new iPads with a charging cart and a full-time Apple staff member to be ready for us whenever we need to add an app or anything like that. So Miss Tamika Wilson has those, and she has curriculum to teach the kids how to create their own app through Apple, and then there's like a contest at the end of the 12 weeks, and they could possibly have their app in the App Store for Apple. So 5th grade is really, really excited about that. And she can use them with all of her classes, but she just has to do the pilot curriculum with one group. And then of course the good report card rating, but we're on the way to excellent. And number 3 is a big part of on the way to excellent. We feel so much better about 4th grade science, and Ms. Horn has really taken the bull by the horns. I had a parent, 3rd grade teacher today whose child is in 4th grade, and when it got to this slide, she was like, I just want to speak to this. My child, I feel like, is so much more prepared this year in science. She said she's coming home telling me about the labs and the hands-on skills they're receiving. We do holidays around the world, and Ms. Horn is now talking about doing labs around the world, and each 4th grade class is set up as a different lab station, and they rotate one Friday. So they've just really gone full force with science, and I know that that's going to play a big part in getting us to excellent. And then just support needed. We need a counselor. So I've planted this in a few years, but Mr. Vaughn and Coach Butler are busting their tails to be the good cop and the bad cop, and it's just not sustainable. We need a counselor. We have a mental health, I hate to say mental health crisis, but there are behaviors that stem from mental health needs that our kids just really, they need a counselor that can fully be the good cop for them in their corner and not turn around and send them home for OSS after they just learned their whole background and Yes, so we need a counselor. We also just found out that we'll have some extra classrooms this coming year, so we can have a CPR, a really robust, I don't wanna call it ISS, but a CPR, Center for Personal Responsibility. Dr. J pulls scholars now for CPR in her little intervention room, and if she's pulling an SEL group and has some ISS children, it's hard given space, so we would like to put ISS in a classroom next year. Sometimes it's just more impactful to have them in school doing their work supervised than to send them home for out of school suspension. And thank you for providing the retired teachers for Eagle Advantage. That's off to a great start. And then the last one actually was deleted after my conversations today. They like iExcel and they're really excited about Accelerator Reader and Master Connect. So thank you for Master Connect, iExcel, and Accelerator Reader. And I think that's it. That's just our 5 pillars for the new report card. Thank you.
Quick comment from you. How did your on-site management training leadership go with the development board where I sat in for minutes?
Yes, it was great. We love when Manisa comes. It was a perfect reset.
I agree. Yeah. Taylor? Trevor?
Yes,
Trevor.
yes, always grateful for an opportunity to have the opportunity to reset and to reach consensus on what we're gonna inspect to get measured. And so that's what you have on their final slides, which is what are we all going to be talking strategically about in our rally cry for the next 5 months.
Gifford, any comment from you?
No, of course, when you talk about adding staff, my ears perk up a little.
You can do it. You can do it.
Okay, all right.
And just say a shout out, the Collective Leadership Symposium or Showcase. I thought it was a huge success. Y'all are to be commended, and Ms. Carlon, Ms. Ray. I mean, it was all hands on deck, but it was very impressive. And feedback from the participants, from other charter schools, and administrators from State Department of Education was very, very positive. So
Thank you.
I thought it was really a big success.
Dr. Ivy, are we exempt from the requirement to have a counselor, like the traditional K-12 settings?
Yes, there is a significant wiggle room around the certification status, but at the end of the day, when discipline is administered, it has to be done by a licensed school administrator on campus. But we did have some great conversation in academic committee, already prioritizing what are going to be our budget requests, and each academy director will have an opportunity to weigh in, as Sally has already shared here for next year.
Thank you.
All right, are we ready to
Yes,
go into
Mr.
committee
Chairman,
updates?
happy to move our agenda right along. We wanted to say thank you to our academy directors for making the trek in. So thank you, Ms. Montgomery, thank you, Ms. Harris, for all of the work that you put in making sure that the voices of your staff are heard. I know it took a lot of time, but we are able to report back to Delano and Cannon that milestone has been completed with Charter School Growth Fund. So we hope to see the fruits of the labor, and I know we will. Mr. Chairman and members of the board, just moving right along with the remainder of the executive director's report, you can look at in your packet, page 7, you have all of the PTGs that I'm held responsible for the month of January, 46, 32 of the 46 reporting as either on track or have been fully met. You can see where the priorities are for next month, what are our major challenges, from my perspective, decisions for the board to weigh their input on, and what support is needed. But overall, we are performing very well in terms of our organizational goals. As has already been mentioned, there are only 2 out of 16 that are off track. One, which should be fairly off track, which is our proficiency. We have room to get to the 85%. But to know that the cut scores have been raised and our averages are still above the 50% mark at the middle point of the school year is promising. So you have all of that data in your board packet. The other organizational goal is our million-word reading challenge, which directors have already acknowledged. But lots of progress to share with that. First time ever that we've met the breakfast meal participation goal at the middle of the school year. And we have broken that up on the rally cry. And so remember, that food services team is a small business that we are running. And so shout out to the food services team for their efforts. In your board packet, you also have our full report card on page number 8, where you see all 16 of the goals. The number in parentheses on page 8 is where we currently are. So for example, the goal for Scholar Daily Meal participation is 75%. Breakfast is currently 75% for the first semester, and for lunch it is 85%. You can see all the way down to financial strength. Again, the number in parentheses is where we currently are for the end of the second semester. I do want just to make note that our socioeconomic status number is back on track. We had a reporting issue that I'm happy to report that we got fully worked out with our authorizer, and we'll know in the next couple of days whether that will impact our January revenue or February revenue. Mr. Shaw will be reporting on that in just a moment. Any questions on the executive director's report?
Where do we stand with Ms. Yaz?
Great question. Just shortly before the board meeting, we were asked to break up our $2.18 million pitch into 2, a loan and a grant. We are still getting clarification on what is most pressing in the facilities to ask for in our loan request, which is going to be discussed a little later in tonight's meeting, but very promising. By the time we meet next month for committee meetings, we should have numbers to be able to publicly share. But we do have it in writing that we are proud to be an alumni winner, but we are awaiting anxiously the numbers.
The details.
The details, yes. But we did have our discovery call with Building Hope, who ironically is who they're partnering with to administer the financial resources. And Building Hope, we were their first career champion last year, and we are applying for a new grant this year with them.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Last thing I will name just before you go into committee updates, if you have not taken your board of directors satisfaction survey, we are able to get that right after this meeting, but we do want to respond to any feedback to more efficiently prepare for meetings. And then moving into pages 9 to 15 of your document, all committees have had a chance to weigh in on the legacy plan for succession planning. Ms. Rauschenbach and Ms. Chandler are the designated board directors that have supervision of that committee. That is another milestone in Charter School Growth Fund that we are slowly inching away towards. But that will be something that we'll be asking for board acceptance, not approval, board acceptance at the March meeting. So the full plan will come to you in the month of March, but the first document that you have is the legacy plan. We are now ready for committee updates.
All right. Executive committee?
Mr. Chairman, I'll be more than happy to report out on executive. We received positive reports from the spring rally cry and site assessment reports, as well as the Spark survey results, which our academy directors were able to go into more detail about this evening. And we were also provided an update on our growing relationship with Central Carolina Technical College, and our scholars were able to recently tour the health science program and are really excited about future opportunities with that growing relationship.
Excellent. I think we have a very progressive and strong leader in Dr. Wilbanks, and she will not only be great for Sumter and the region she serves, but she will also be a significant ally to Liberty STEAM and our mission of creating the workforce of the future and college students of the future. Okay, academic.
All right, Mr. Chairman. The academic committee received presentations from the committee liaison report from Dr. McDonald and her January report out, and that included that Cognia is on track, so that's awesome. Transformational coaching, Dr. McDonald will be scheduling time to provide support at EA and PA campuses. And then we looked at the best practices in grading with homework guidance. And so I know they've been working really hard on that. The recommendation for time allotted for homework was discussed, grading recommendation setting the floor at 60 for kids K through 5, and then no floor for grades 6 and up. So no, what you make is what you make after 6th grade and up. The guidance was forwarded to the governance committee for policy alignment in preparation for board action in the March meeting. And then, of course, we looked at the mid-year map data, the positive progress that's being made. And then the SC Ready Boot Camp is in full effect, and so you're invited to join and come observe if you like, Monday through Thursday, 8:30 to 12. And my daughter is part of one of those groups, so excited for the opportunity for her and other scholars, so. Perfect, and that's pretty much what we have for academic.
Mr. Chairman and other members of the board, just want to reiterate pages 39 to 83 in your packet, which is the bulk of your meeting packet tonight, is the revised best practices grading policy manual, which is according to our bylaws, you have one look at, weigh in, give your feedback. But we will be presenting the final revisions at the March meeting for board approval, because there are a few, not very many, but there are a few policy changes that have come about in that committee under the jurisdiction of Mrs. Canal, Ms. Douglas. They have done their due diligence. Parents have had an opportunity to weigh in, staff have had an opportunity to weigh in. But I don't foresee any major changes from what you have been presented. And actually, if you look at page 39, it gives you a cheat sheet on all of the major changes that are being proposed. But that is a policy, so it will need board approval in the month of March.
Excellent. Ms. Bass?
Yes. So during our development committee, we had an update from the family engagement, Ms. Chambers. And she reported positive results from the kindergarten and 6th grade roadmaps. They completed the kindergarten hopes and dreams, and they are moving on to the 6th grade hopes and dreams meetings. And this is a good guide for our scholars and families towards success. She reported out on the demographics of the class of 2039. The ratios were positive as to where we typically see in the other grades. 48.3% Black, 38.9% white non-Hispanic, and 2.7% Hispanic, and 10.1% multiracial. There was also a technology recommendation for the upcoming school year, the rising 6th graders, as keeping the Chromebooks into the school still, not returning those home, just due to the risk involved in the history of some damage occurring. So they are looking into some more robust cases and trying to figure out a way that they can eventually transition those home. We had an update on grant and fundraising requests, the year-end giving campaign, which returned an estimated about $100,000. And the next steps with the Yaz Alumni Prize, Dr. Ivy touched on that with trying to just figure out the disbursement of how we would see that money come to us, and reports on the outstanding grants from the Building Hope Fellowship. For PATH updates, Dr. Ivy has been conducting his executive director site visits, so he is trying to visit all PATH partners, and he has gotten about 50% of the way through with that, and he's trying to complete the rest by spring break. We are busy scheduling PATH field trip learning experiences, so individual classrooms where they can see their PATH partners, and then also gracious PATH partners who have opened them up for entire grade levels, such as Nephron, Central Carolina, and EVOC. And that was all.
You have a motion, Ms. Bass?
Well, we had,
Next page.
we thought, on development, we thought we were gonna have a visit from the governor of Arkansas on Monday, but she's not traveling with her details, so she can't come to a public, be in the public spaces. But she still is very interested in what's going on here, and she's gonna have one of her key education, leaders from Arkansas come back and take a visit. And I think this gentleman was actually on the board of University of Arkansas. Is her appointee, but he is very interested in what we're doing, and she is very interested in what we're doing, because they want to progress charter schools in a very meaningful way in the state of Arkansas. And that falls in line with Delano, his request. So, if you talk to him before I do, tell him I'm still working it, but I'm trying to find the right people. of Arkansas for charter
Well,
school?
Ms. Hanson has mailed a copy of our Life at Liberty book to Mrs. Sanders. And
Okay,
so we look forward to having her
When did you,
visit.
when did you send that, Amy?
It was about, a week, 2 weeks ago.
Okay, well, I'll make sure that somebody, her communications director looks for it.
Mr. Chairman, before the Madam Chairwoman of Development Committee, I believe, has a recommendation to make, I do just want for our media representative, Ms. Hanson, if you would click on the demographics profile. Tomorrow, we get to meet these scholars. We get to meet all 153 that were admitted through our lottery. And so we are implementing our roadmap as was board approved last year. But between Christmas break and just a few weeks ago, we're able to say that we are fully enrolled for 145 of the 153 scholars. That means they've met their 10-day deadline, their paperwork is complete, they are fully enrolled. They're ready for stop 2, which is tomorrow, Hopes and Dreams. 5th grade Hopes and Dreams for the 6th grade college and career ready roadmap was a couple of weeks ago. But this is hot off the press, and so I'm very excited to be able to report that for 6 consecutive years, that we will have met this requirement in the charter law, which is our racial demographics. We are well within the margin, not only of what state law says, but there is not a deviation in our mission in terms of who this school is aiming to serve. And so, again, that number is just a percentage point or 2 off of where it has been historically over a 5-year average. So to say out of 453 applications for 153 seats, and that is the pool that was randomly selected. That reflects a boots on the ground approach to make sure that we're sharing the story and the mission and model with all parts of this community and not any one select. Ms. Bass?
So, Mr. Chairman, I move that the board approves the development consent agenda consisting of the technology recommendations for the 26-27 school year and the succession planning development committee document.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Dr. Thompson, finance.
Thank you. The Finance Committee met and reviewed several key items related to our fiscal health and ongoing financial planning. I will ask Mr. Shaw to briefly give an overview of our financial statements.
Sir, thank you, Dr. Thompson.
Page 23 in your packet is the dashboard.
The dashboard, all I would really call you attention to there, we're really in just our philanthropic and grant giving, and that of course carries over into our revenue and expense report also. The others you can look at there. I'll highlight a few things on the fact that we have 45 days, greater than 45 days of cash. Our current bank debt is just over $16 million at the end of December. We, although December itself was a month in which we're showing a general fund loss of $310,000. That's largely because of all the bonuses that were paid in the month of December. That was $330,000. We, I continue to think, that we're on budget and we'll actually beat our budget by year end. We, all depending on just our philanthropic and grants coming in. We've talked about a number of those already, the YAS, and we also haven't mentioned something that we got some good news about our line item in the federal budget. And let's see, our food service was a little off in December. Of course, you could expect that with 2 weeks of vacation, as well as some Christmas and holiday celebrations and parties of food being served, different foods. But I think that we'll be online for that before year end. We did get our federal amount finalized, $296,000 is what we're expecting that in total federal. I had in the budget 308 total, so we're not too far off on that. You know, there is an expansion update for cabinetry and casework at the PA that's not in our budget. You'll make that motion later related to that, Dr. Thompson. Any questions on any of the financial reports?
Any questions? Included in your board packet are two items that require board approval and/or acceptance under the finance consent agenda. The 26-27 salaries schedule and succession planning for finance committee. The communication strategy has been developed specific to the finance committee for notification required prior to any public announcements. Just one quick note before I make the motion, the allotment for casework could be in next year's fiscal budget and/or loans potentially. Mr. Chairman, I move that the board approve the finance consent agenda item consisted of proposed fiscal year 27 salary scale, and please make a note, based on current budget projections.
Okay.
Allotment for casework at the primary academy not to exceed $95,000. Succession planning finance committee document.
Someone want to second this motion?
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Mr. Chair, I move that the board authorize the executive director to execute up but not to exceed 1.1 million of the Yaz Building Hope interest-free loan funds for the expansion of the Fine Arts Center.
Okay, we have a motion. To hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Okay. So at this time, do we have a motion on the operating capital support resolutions?
I need to, Madam Vice Chair, for the record, I am recusing myself from discussion and voting on the operating capital support due to a conflict of interest. I will relinquish the gavel to you for this portion of the meeting.
Madam Vice Chair, I move that the board approve two resolutions regarding operating capital support.
You have the motions in your packet to read them.
Those resolutions in our packet?
Yes, sir.
Page 36 and
And on the screen.
39.
Yeah. You guys ready? All right. Whereas the Board of Directors, the Board of Liberty STEAM Charter, the school, a South Carolina nonprofit corporation and public charter school, has responsibility for the fiscal oversight of the school, and whereas the school required capital at the beginning of the 25-26 school year to cover operating expenses, including payroll and other necessary costs, and whereas the board determined that if it was in the best interest of the school to obtain an interest-free loan in the principal amount of $500,000, the loan, and Mr. Gregory A. Thompson to ensure uninterrupted operations at the start of the school year. Whereas the loan was intended to be short-term in nature, repaid upon receipt of anticipated revenues during the school year. Whereas the school has received sufficient unrestricted operating revenues to repay the loan without adverse impact to the school's financial conditions, and whereas the board desires to formally ratify the document, the loan, and authorize repayment thereof. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the board hereby ratifies and approves the school's acceptance of the loan, the proceeds of which were used solely for school operating purposes, and be it further resolved that the board hereby authorizes directs repayment of the loan in full principal amount of $500,000 with no interest from available school funds. And be it further resolved that the board authorize the vice chair or executive director to execute any documents and take any actions necessary to effectuate repayment of the loan and ensure proper accounting in the documentation of the transaction. Be it formally resolved that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon adoption.
I second the motion.
That's already been
So,
heard. So, Dr. Thompson, you're moving that the board approves the
The resolutions
the resolutions
as presented.
presented regarding operating capital support. Okay.
Just needs to read the second one.
Where is this?
Page 35.
There's another one.
Did I go out of order?
It's okay.
No, it's just, there's one more.
I knew there was one more for the organization. Apologize for going out of order. You guys ready?
It's okay.
This is not my new eyes. Whereas the Board of Directors, the Board of Liberty Steen Charter School, the school, a South Carolina nonprofit corporation and public charter school, has responsibility for the fiscal oversight of the school. And whereas the school required capital at the beginning of the 2025 school year to cover operating expenses, including payroll and other necessary costs. And whereas the board determined that it was in the best interest of the school to obtain an interest-free loan in the principal amount $250,000, the loan from Coyote Foundation to ensure uninterrupted operations at the start of the school year. Whereas the loan was intended to be short-term in nature and repaid upon receipt of anticipated revenues during the school year. And whereas the school has received sufficient unrestricted operating revenues to repay the loan without adverse impact to the school's financial condition. And whereas the board desires to formally ratify the document, the loan, and authorize repayment thereof. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the board hereby ratifies and approves the school's acceptance of a loan, the proceeds of which were used solely for school operating purposes. And be it further resolved that the board hereby authorize direct payments of the loan in full principal amount, $250,000 with no interest from available school funds. And be it further resolved that the board authorize the vice chair of the executive director to execute any documents that take any actions necessary to effectuate the repayment of the loan and to ensure proper accounting and documentation of the transaction. And be it formally resolved that that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon adoption. Madam Vice Chair, I make a move that the board approve 2 resolutions regarding operating capital support.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
And so we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The motion passes. Mr. Chairman, I hand the gavel back to you. Let the record reflect that the chairman did not participate in that vote.
Okay, governance committee?
Okay. We've heard about the best practices in grading and homework guidance in your packet at page 39. And as Dr. Ivy said, the changes or highlights are clearly noted, as well as there's an index with the page numbers for the amendments or corrections to the existing policy. And that was based upon student and teacher input from the past year. And that it's being presented tonight for information only, and the board will be taking action at the March meeting. Also, there is a proposed board election timeline in your packet at page 84, and it is being presented tonight for acceptance. The Public Charter School Alliance of South Carolina will again partner with Liberty Steen Charter School to support the upcoming elections this spring and the related procedures. We also have an Executive Directors Academy Best Practices Task Force update that has been included in your packet. We received a presentation of a draft athletics plan, and the committee has asked for additional information to be shared as the process continues identifying athletic options for our scholars. At this time, I move that the board accept the election timeline as presented on page 84.
You have a motion, do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. We will now move into executive session. Do I hear a motion to enter executive session?
Mr. Chairman, I move that the board enter into executive session for the purposes of discussion of negotiations incident to proposed property contractual agreements, proposed contractual agreements, confidential review of student documentation for scholar age waiver requests, and discussion of personnel matters.
All right, we have a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. to the fifth ward.
Mr. Mills, we are ready if you are.
All right, do I hear a motion to, enter open session?
So moved.
Your second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, do I have a motion regarding topics discussed in executive session? Dr. Thompson.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the board authorize the executive director with the advice of legal counsel to take next steps consistent with the discussion held in executive session to exit or otherwise resolve a contractual agreement, including negotiation and any necessary correspondence.
All right, we have a motion, do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The motion passes. Okay, do I have the, school age requirement waiver request motion?
Yes, Mr. Chair, based on discussions in executive committee, I move that, in executive session, I move to deny the school age requirement waiver request.
Aye. We have a motion, do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, do we have something on the personnel report? Or do we need to-
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the monthly personnel report and to authorize the executive director to enter into agreements to expand the search for vacant leadership positions as reflected on the current organizational chart.
Okay, we have a motion, do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we stand adjourned. Bruce, thank you for being here.
Thank you for being here.